am Lee. I am talking about construction week, and I want to share my math activities that I like to do, and I hope that you get some great ideas. All of these things are going to be in my All About Construction 5-day lesson plan, but a lot of them you can just kind of figure out similar things to do, okay? So I will kind of point things like that out as they come up. Excuse me. One little counting activity that I have is you match the hammer to the nails. And each hammer has a number on it, and then you find the nail that matches, or the nails. So the kids will count the nails and find the hammer, or get the hammer, count the nails, find the match. I kind of like counting the nails first because then you've got that little numeral recognition element to it. So, let's count 1, 2, 3. We see 3 nails. Let's find a hammer with the number 3. That I think makes it a little bit more meaningful. So you go to this and they're going to need help. A lot of them, they're going to go, that's easy. But this one, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they want to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8. Got to make sure they're counting carefully, touching one nail each time they say a number so that they know that the number means a quantity. So then they find their number 8 hammer, and there you go. So that is the hammer and nail activity. Super fun, great for informal assessment. If you need to do assessments in a way that's not going to take up all your time. During construction week, I talk about ordinals, first, second, third, fourth. I have a video about construction crafts where we go over that too, but we also talk about the order that we build a building and things like that. So I have these little mats, and this one says put the blue and red cement truck first in line. So the kids will have these trucks. They'll have a blue and red cement truck, a yellow excavator, a red dump truck, a blue roller, and a red and yellow forklift. So these instructions, like, okay, blue and red cement truck, put the yellow excavator second in line, put the red dump truck third in line. So the kids line those up, and then one of the kids gets to flip this open, and they need to make sure theirs is the same as what they have done with their trucks. So this is really simple, you guys. I know you're like, wait, how did you do that? Super easy. This little question part is just half a page. I use Scotch tape right there, so I just match it up. I use Scotch tape that you can't really see, and yeah, perfect. And this goes all the way up, so I start them out with just first, second, and third, but I go up to, and I'll show you. I think I go up to 5th. Yeah, I go up to 5th. So here is like red and yellow forklift, excavator second, blue roller third, blue and red cement truck fourth, red dump truck, and then someone lifts that up and they have to. I love this activity. It's a great activity. The kids like it because they get to see if they're right, and they love to see that they understand the concept fully. Now, in my lesson plan, I have one set of these trucks, and I used to just use one set of trucks and let them take turns. I have figured if I print a set of trucks for all the kids, so I'll print like maybe 4 or 5 for smaller groups, they can all do it and take turns flipping the thing up and seeing if they all have it right. I mean, that's better because then you don't have someone that's just sitting there being passive. I mean, you learn as you go, right? I also have stacking counts. We use Unifix cubes. So what they would do is they would like put a stack of 3 Unifix cubes on the number 3, 1 on 1, 4 on 4, 2 on 2, etc. So this I would do with my 3-year-olds or kids that need some help with numeral recognition and counting. And then I have up to 10 for my pre-K kiddos. They're all pretty good. They know their numbers. They're pretty good at counting. Some of them still, once they get past 6, they want to hurry it up. So they just need more time. So I like this going up to 10. The Unifix cubes gives them a lot of fine motor practice. So it's fine motor practice, one-to-one correspondence, numeral recognition. It's a great activity. It encompasses a lot of different things. And the more things you can teach with one activity, the more your kids are going to know at the end. Okay, this is one of my favorites. During construction week, since construction is about, you've got to be precise, you've got to measure. I've got these little measure and compare sheets. So we stack Unifix cubes up until it is as tall as the tool. They think they've got to go up to the top Unifix cube, but I'm like, oh no, we're not measuring this. We're measuring the mallet. We're measuring the screwdriver. Is this a flathead or a Phillips screwdriver? I also bring the real tools in, and we touch the real tools. We talk about the real tools. Of course, nothing sharp or dangerous, but I talked to him about the Phillips head, the flathead, why the flathead is the flathead, and how easy it is to distinguish, because if it's not flat on the end, it's Phillips. And they actually get it by the end, you guys. So I've got like the monkey wrench and the nail, and they love that the monkey wrench is called a monkey wrench. We talk about which one's taller, which one's shorter. Are they the same? We count the Unifix cubes. So you've got fine motor, counting, measuring, comparing, more, less. You got everything. You've got so many of your standards in one activity. So again, it's an activity that does double duty. In my lesson plan, I do have a more or less activity. It's not my favorite, but it works. Okay, so I have these little trucks with these rocks in them. You count the rocks in the back of the dump truck. I'll put 2 out. So there's that one and that one. And then they've got to go. Is it more? Is it less? So I think I've got that one that way and same, equal. So you put 2 trucks out. You talk about, hold on, I dropped that one. I always say its mouth wants to eat the bigger number. So more, less, or the same. And they pick out of the 3, the more, less, or the same. So you've got counting, you've got comparing, you've got more, less, same, equal in that activity as well. Okay, now this next activity, it's kind of hard. I would only do this with my pre-K kids. And what it is it is a draw and cover activity. So you see that all of these construction workers have numbers on their hard hats. I would set out Unifix cubes or buttons or something to put on top of the construction worker when you pull their number. So this is a number sense activity. So this is getting up there. Your pre-K kids could probably do it. I don't know if they could do the whole thing. Kindergartners, this is really good. Let me show you the cards that we use for the draw and cover. My kids aren't reading, so I don't use these, but I do have included in my lesson plan word cards, number word cards, 0, 1, 2, all the way up to 10. So if I drew like 2, the word 2, and my kids could actually read 2, they would go ahead and put their Unifix cube on the number 2 construction worker. So that is one. There are 6 different ways that you can play this. So whatever you want to focus on. I start bringing 10 frames into my classroom, showing them what they are, because I know they're going to be using these in kindergarten, and I kind of want to just start throwing things at them. So then I've got the 10 frames. We count the dots. How many dots do you see? 1, 2, Can you find the number 2 on the hard hat? Yeah, put a button on it, put a Unifix cube on it, whatever we're using. So we have number words, 10 frames. We've got some subitizing with dice. I did not do every possible way to make every number. I made it easy on myself. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have just our standard through 6 dice face. Then I just picked 4 and 3 for 7, 5 and 3 for 8, 5 and 4 for 9, and a double for 10. Could have done a double for 8, but this is just what I chose. So same thing. We'd count the dots in the arrays and we would mark the correct construction worker. So far that's 3 different ways. All right, then I have construction cones. We're counting construction cones. How many are on this one? 0, 1, 2, and so on all the way up to 10. So you count the construction cones, mark the construction worker. So that is 4 ways to do this. Okay, then I've got tally marks. I haven't gone over tally marks with my kids yet. I usually kind of introduce that in circle time little by little when we do like our number and counting in the day. So, you know, maybe I'll start that in the next week or so. But same thing, we've got these tally marks, counting the lines until you get to 10 and you cover up the construction workers. Okay, so that's 5 different ways you can do it. Here's our 6th, finger counting. 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And I, with my 3-4s, we do a lot of finger counting. I teach them how. Like I'll go, okay, if our number of the day is 4, I go, make your hand like this, now tuck your thumb in. There's a lot of things they can't do. They're not dexterous enough. Like hold down your pinky with your thumb to make a 3. We sing a song, Peace Like a River. Make your peace like a river. 1, 2. Point. Our magic finger pen when we practice our letters. That's 1. This means nothing. 0. I practice that with them. So I do it with the pre-K kids too. So we know what these are. So this is actually easier than some of the other ones. So that is 6 different ways that you can draw and cover these numbers 0 through 10. But although I'm just noticing, I don't think I have a 0 in here. Somebody needs to fix this. So, or you could just forego 0 altogether. Okay, so those are just like my standard math activities. Math, measuring, ordinal numbers, things like that. Then I just have a few things that I will put out for centers that the kids really, really like. I've got just Lego blueprints or mats, you know, whatever. And they need to match color and size to make each picture. Some are more complicated than the others. I make sure before I start this activity that I have all these Legos in like a big tray on my table so that this is actually a possibility for my kids. And I get as many of these as I can. So if one is working on one and one is working on the other and they both need the orange long Lego, you know, they can actually do it. So there's a bunch of those. Another thing I do, and this is something I did, gosh, at the very, I'd say my 2nd year teaching. We talked about blueprints because I've got blueprints and I have Velcro on these. I have carpet up half my walls so I can stick things to my walls. So over at my block table, I made these little blueprints and they just match the blocks. They can take these off the wall or leave them on the wall and just build this, or they can take these off the wall and lay the blocks down on them to make this. So I have lots of different little things with just our unit wood blocks that we've got. Some are super simple. Some get a little bit more complicated. But these are all things that the kids can do. And I have a funny story with these. I made one that looked like something really inappropriate. And I didn't notice. There it was, just on my wall. And it was one of my aides that went, will you look at that? And I'd look and I wouldn't see anything. And then she'd go, that's not very appropriate, is it? And then I was like, oh my gosh. So just, this was super easy. I just used white paper, blue crayon, laminated them, put some Velcro on them. But make sure that you're not making a blueprint of something that maybe the kids shouldn't be making. But anyway, the kids wouldn't have known right over their head, but it was really, really funny. I'm just glad I saw it before my principal did, but she would have gotten a huge kick out of it. So those are just a couple of little math activities that I do. You could make things really simple. One great activity is to get golf tees and use a little mallet to pound them into some cardboard, some styrofoam, and just count how many golf tees, and you're using your motor skills, you're counting, you're seeing what it's like to use real tools. That's one thing that my coworker does all the time. I don't like the sound of the hammering. My kids would probably love it, but the sound of the hammering is enough to make me crazy, so I don't do it. I also use these really big blocks, Melissa and Doug, and we will build things with those in the middle of our rug and go as high as we can, making towers. One other great activity is using craft sticks and cups and building. So it's a great STEM activity just to see how high can you make your structure, how long can you meet your structure up with your neighbors and make something bigger. They love that so much. We'll do it for center one day, and then I'll just put it out as an extra free thing for them to do the next day, and they all kind of gravitate to it and do it. And that's more of a little STEM activity, but I think it's perfect with math. You can count how many cups you're using. You can count how high you're going with your cups, and it all works together anyway. But those are just a few things that you can do. Some take prep, some don't. Enjoy your construction week.